Hey guys, welcome back to Alternative Small Holding. I'm Jazz and today I am finally getting around to the What Seeds to Sow in March video, the flowers edition. Now some of you have been very patient with me about this, and I've had requests almost daily by about 5 people in different formats. So I'm sorry that it's taken so long, because I know I did promise it in the second week of March. No, the first week of March, wasn't it? It's just been a really busy time. I wasn't too well for a week, so I didn't do many videos, and I'm just getting back on top of things now. But with it being a little bit later, that actually works in our advantage in terms of flowers. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk flowers that you can sow in March, and then we are going to talk about potting on vegetables, or potting on the vegetables or flowers that we planted in January and February. So we have a playlist of videos, you can go back and watch them. The link for them is below, and you can see what we've been sowing and growing when, and then how we are potting them on. So over the year you can get a good look, and then next year you can go back and start it all over again. So I think this is the first real video that you are getting in our new studio space. So we have this, it's an annex on the side of our house, and this used to be a photography studio, so there is all kind of hooks and everything for different lights. So at the moment we're really experimenting with what lighting actually works. So if this is really glary, I can see I look a bit red, but I have been running around, and the sound isn't perfect. We will perfect it over time, don't worry. But this studio space is really exciting, because this is where we're going to have my little corner here. I've got my shelving and all bits and bobs going on, so this is my little potting on corner. And then behind you directly, I will have a new kitchen, and that will be for bringing all of our vegetables in, prepping them after harvest, and making things like our preserves and our breads and our home brews. So we'll have a whole new kitchen area that I can actually film in, because our kitchen is absolutely tiny and really difficult to actually navigate. So we're actually going to build a kitchen, and then we're going to have a little workshop over this area for the bearded dude and I to show you some of the things that we make. And there'll be another thing in that corner over there. There's just this space is massive, so we will have lots of things that we can do in here, lots of storage racks. We're going to have a good pantry going on, so it's very exciting. But this is going to happen over time. For now, the first part is I have somewhere I can sit and talk to you, where I'm not disturbing anyone else in the house and they're not disturbing me. So today, as I said, we're going to talk about flowers. So flowers that you can sow in March. This is actually where things start to get really exciting, because we are heading towards spring. Spring actually is here next week. Next Thursday is the first day of spring. I am so excited. I don't know about you guys, but that seems like a really big landmark to me in terms of gardening. But some of our plants that we grow are tender, and as we get towards the end of March, we have more options as to what we can grow and where we can grow them. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk through quite a few flowers. We're going to talk through some different varieties. So we're going to talk through your standard like growing for your herbaceous perennials, and we're going to talk about something that you can grow as a dried flower. We're going to talk about some climbers or some trailers. I've tried to think of a few different things, and some unusual plants as well. So let's get stuck in, let's do the flowers for March, and then after that we will pot on some of the things that we grew earlier in the year. As we did with our vegetables that you can grow in March video, we're going to talk about things that you can grow under glass or indoors, so protected growing, and then we'll talk about some things that you can direct sow, so you can just put directly into the ground outside. So let's get started. The first one that absolutely deserves to be mentioned first is Cosmos. Now I have 2 varieties here. These are Cosmos Daydream and then other one which is Picotee. Now Picotee has pink around the outside and Daydream has pink from the centre. So they're 2 different types of white with pink, and they look absolutely beautiful together. I usually grow Purity as well, and then I think it's Double Click, and I can't find my seeds for those, which means I may have to go and buy some more. But Cosmos, absolutely brilliant flowers to grow. They fill out your borders, and if you keep deadheading them, they will grow and flower up until the frosts. So they are a half hardy annual. They do need protecting until your frosts have gone, but once they have, they will keep going, and you just need to chop off the head, which I will show you as we go through the season. Cosmos, absolutely worth growing this year. Rudbeckia. Now, a lot of people are used to Rudbeckia being yellow or an orangey yellow, and they have these like waxy black centres and then the yellow or orange kind of petals. This is a red variety, so this variety is called Cherry Brandy, and they're very, very nice. Now, these were given to Rue by the Skinny Jean Gardener when she went on stage and did a show with him. And these are to be sown February to March. Now, I have actually already sown some of these. If you go back to our seedlings video, I think it was our last 2 videos ago, you will see our seedlings video and you'll see how tiny these are. The seed that you sow is absolutely minuscule, and the plants come up really, really small, as you would expect. And you just pop them on when they're absolutely tiny, but they do form into full-size plants, which I always find absolutely fascinating. These tiny, tiny, tiny seeds, the smallest of all the seeds, can sometimes create the biggest plants. If you want to try Rudbeckia, you can do that now, and as it says, sow seeds on the surface of a compost and then cover with vermiculite. It doesn't like the light exposing too much. Don't put heavy compost on the top, and then just keep it damp. So Rudbeckia. This one is Cherry Brandy, but the typical one that you may be used to is the yellow or orange variety. Our next one is something that you may not know. Now, I am trying to give you some varieties that you can go out there and find that are new to you, as well as old favourites as well. Now, this one is something that I discovered about 3 years ago, and it's called Tithornia rhododendroflorea. Tithornia torch, the name's on the screen. I'm terrible at pronunciation. If you're new to our channel, you will learn very soon that I can't pronounce things very well. But I do put the names up, so then you can go and Google it. But Tithornia is a Mexican sunflower, so it grows about 6 foot tall, or our ones grow about 6 foot tall. This one says... This says it grows 120 centimetres. Ours didn't grow to 120 centimetres. Ours got to about 6 foot tall. But bright, vivid orange flowers with stems and leaves that are like velvet. You can just stroke them, they're so beautiful. Tithornia, a very underrated plant. To grow it, you just need to sow it onto your compost, cover it with a sprinkling of further compost, keep it moist, and then it will grow on happily. They're quite easy to grow, and they're absolutely beautiful and statuesque in your garden, as well as having that tactile feel to it. And what I am actually going to do is, once we get these plants to the stage where they can start going outside, I will do a video on how you can start to introduce your plants to being outside. So we don't grow them on and then put them out, because that's too much of a change for them and that will probably kill them straight away. But I will do a video on how to harden off your plants, don't worry, okay? Our next one is Achillea, which is a member of the yarrow family. You can see the picture on this one, or is the light too harsh? It's very beautiful. Anyway, and it's got these beautiful flat heads of tiny clusters of tiny flowers, and then if you look at it underneath, it looks like some kind of magnificent tree. But the flowers are gorgeous, the bees love it, and the leaves are really soft and frondy and like a fern. We love Achillea. I've already sowed mine, but you can still do it yourself now. I'm going to quickly go back and say, so the Achillea are perennial, which means that they will come back year after year in our typical UK climate. So that's probably all of the UK climate. Tithornia is an annual. It's from Mexico. It is very frost tender, so we don't put it out until the frost is gone, and once the frost comes, it's done. It's dead as a dodo. So that's an annual. This Cherry Brandy version of Rudbeckia is an annual too, and Cosmos are annuals as well. So our only perennial so far is the Achillea. Some more annuals for you are Zinnias, and Zinnias are fantastic if you want colour in your garden late in the season. They will give a massive boom of colour. They are a great flower for your garden, and the bees absolutely adore them too. So zinnias, get on with them now. If you like flower arranging, or you want a flower that you can dry and then you can have just in a vase or hang somewhere, or maybe if say you've got a special event, like you're getting married maybe in winter and you want a flower that you can grow yourself but you can keep. Helichrysum, the straw flower, the name's on the screen, but this flower grows very nicely in the UK, and then it can be stored dried. I will show you how to dry plants, don't worry, but this is a brilliant one for keeping to dry. And if you're having something like a wedding and you're having it in late autumn, winter, early spring, and you want something that you can grow yourself, this is a great one to try. These seeds were, I think, 29p from Lidl, so not exactly expensive if you want to give them a go. And that's how they look. So I'm going to sow my Helichrysum seeds right now. So I'm going to bring the camera down so you can see what I'm doing, and let's open these up. Right, so for our Helichrysum, we are just filling a pot of compost. We use a peat-free organic compost, which isn't extremely fine, but to be honest, we've never had a problem with germination with it. The seed is quite small. You see it? It is quite small. And then what we're going to do, I'll bring this up so you can see, is just sprinkle this on the top of the pot. I don't want too many, so that'll do. I'm just tapping it down to make sure they're in place. I'm just going to give them a little water. Oh, a little water? This isn't working very well. There you go. I'm not a professional gardener, I steal my child's equipment. So there you go, they are watered, and then I'm going to sprinkle some compost on the top. And then the most important part, label it. And that's our Helichrysum sown. Now, none of these flowers that we're sowing today need to go in a heated propagator, but they do need to go somewhere very light. So make sure that you've got a consistent temperature. So a windowsill is nice without a radiator underneath it. That's important. You don't want to give them too much heat. And then give them plenty of light, and they will grow away, and then we'll cover the next stage in the next video. Something different for you. Trifolium rubens. Now this is a beautiful purpley pink kind of feathery flower. If you want to challenge yourself to grow something that might be a bit more difficult, then this would be a lovely addition to your garden. Now this needs to be sown on the surface of a compost, and then that needs to be put within a plastic bag, or it needs to be made sure that it's sealed, because that condensation will help germinate the plant. They need a consistent temperature of around 20 degrees, so that's day and night, so they are a little bit more tricky as to get growing, but they're worth it. And germination, actually, I'm just reading here, it says germination can take 30 days. Now these are old seeds, so I'm not going to try and grow these because they lose their viability quite quickly, and I've had these seeds since probably about 2010. So I'm not going to try and grow them. I wish I had some fresh seeds because I would love to do them again this year. But if you fancy something a little bit different, look up Trifolium rubens. The next one is a favourite for everybody. Well, not everybody. You know what I really don't like? When someone says everybody loves this. And not everybody does, because that isn't what life is like. But a lot of people like sunflowers. Now, we have different varieties here. We have a tall giant variety, we've got a Helianthus red sun, and we have the teddy bear variety, which is fluffy little yellow flowers, which is one of Rue's favourites, and we've got the Sunshots gold mixed one, which is a dwarf one, but with lots of multi-heads, so it's not just one sunflower head, it's got multiple heads. Now, I don't sow my sunflowers until the very last week in March, purely because they grow so fast. And they are really, really frost tender. So if you've not got somewhere that they are frost proof, that you can give them enough space to grow, then don't sow them just yet. Hold off a little bit, even until the first week of April, that will be fine. But sunflowers grow really fast. They are just crazy energetic plants that just want to go. So maybe hold off a little bit unless you've got somewhere that you know you can give them enough space. But sunflowers absolutely are worth it, and the best part is the seeds that you get from them you can either eat or you can give to the birds, or you can save them and grow them again next year. And another great thing about them is they're great for kids to grow. So in terms of our encouraging children to grow, sunflowers are a really good one for them. Now, I've talked about cleome a few times. You know they're one of my favourite flowers, and if you've seen our seedlings video from a couple of days ago, you will know that I've had to do 2 sowings because the first one didn't do anything at all. Then I went to More Veg and I got their Cleome Violet Queen seed, and that came up a treat. Now, cleome like fluctuating temperatures. Like I said when I talked about them in January, was that they need to go in the heated propagator, out again, or say on the radiator and then away from it. They need consistently good light, but they want that fluctuation of temperature, and that will spark their germination. So cleome, if you do want to grow them, they smell absolutely amazing. It's not a floral scent, it's not something like a sweet pea or a stock, but they have a foliage scent, which is a kind of really heady, warming scent that you will get when the sun warms up their leaves. And I just think they're absolutely beautiful. I really do. They're one of my favourite flowers, and I love the smell of their foliage. And so if you want to try cleome, it's also known as spider flower, and you want something different for your garden, it's an annual, so it is frost tender, but it's really worth a shot. I think I think they're beautiful. I really do. We've just got a couple more to go, so before we go any further, tell me in the comments down below, what is your favourite flower? What do you grow every year, or what do you wish that you could grow? Is it a tropical flower, or is it something that we can grow here in the UK? Drop a comment down below and let me know what is your favourite flower. Now, something that you don't get very often when you're growing flowers is the mention of succession sowing. But with stocks, this is something you can absolutely do. Now, they have a flush of flowers and then they tend to die back as an annual. But if you sow them, say, every 2 to 3 weeks, then you can get a continuous, lovely, heady scent over your garden over the whole season until the frosts come. So stocks are a lovely thing to start sowing now, and then sow maybe every 2, 3, 4 weeks, so that you've got this continuous scent in your garden. If you want to sit down in the evening and have that really nice floral scent, then stocks are one that you can go for now. Right, and now we're going to talk about Asters and Nicotiana. I always call it Nicotiana. So Asters and Nicotiana, Asters and Nicotiana. I've actually started these off already because you can start them in February. So I have actually started some off, so I am going to start the potting on section of this video with our Asters and Nicotiana. Right, so these are our Asters. What I did is I just broadcast them on a seed tray, and I have already pricked some of these out and they're growing on upstairs. So when they get to this stage and they've got their true leaves coming through, then they are suitable to be pricked out and potted on. So I filled a little pot with compost. I'm just going to make a hole down the middle. And what I'm going to do is look for a good, strong, healthy one, and then I'm going to put, I'm using a paintbrush, but you can use your finger, you can use a lollipop stick, whatever you like, to put that underneath, and then hold it by the leaves. And there we go. There's the seedling. There's your pot. And there you go, one potted on aster. You need to make sure they have a good water and they're still too frost tender to go outside. But that will stay in there now until it is ready to go out. Plenty of root growth space and lovely healthy little plants. When they take the seedlings out, sometimes they'll come out in a bunch and all their roots may be put together. So all you need to do is take one by the leaves. Remember, we don't handle them by the stem, and just gently pull them apart. And there we go, we've got another seedling. So these ones, these are Nicotiana green tears. Now the seeds for these that I had, it's what, 10, 12 years old, and it has germinated just fine. Some seeds just stay viable for ages, and other ones you give them one season and they're done. So we do the same thing, we just fill a pot with compost, and I'm going to poke the hole down the middle. And then with these ones, because they are smaller, what I'm going to do is I am going to tip this out. So we've got it here, and then I'm just going to wiggle this compost and separate them like this. And then we've got one little plant, tuck its roots in, hold the leaves up sometimes if they're quite small. And a Nicotiana, there you go. Remember, just because we've potted them on, that does not mean they are ready to go outside. You still need to provide them with sheltered conditions. They are not hardy. So all of these plants that we're sharing today are not hardy. One frost and they are done. So protect them. Okay? So we go on Nicotiana.